At this point, if you say free Palestine, you might as well say Hail Hitler. That's how sick, twisted, and violent this entire leftist movement has become. If the left doesn't get what they want, they seem to always resort to violence. Israeli diplomats Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram have now become the face of the anti-Semitic crisis now gripping this country. A beautiful young couple executed as they left the Capital Jewish Museum last night. We now know Yaron had just bought an engagement ring and was planning to propose to Sarah in Jerusalem next week. Their accused killer, Elias Rodriguez, reportedly a member of the Party for Socialism, aka PSL, a far-left Marxist pro-Palestine group. Witnesses say he was pacing back and forth outside of the Capital Jewish Museum when he then approached a group of four and he shot Yaron and Sarah at point-blank range. Rodriguez made his motive clear as cops took him into custody moments after the targeted killings.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Free Palestine, you heard him, is what he shouted several times. He seemed, proud of himself. He also told police, we just found this out a short moment ago, he said, quote, "I did it for Palestine. I did it for Gaza." The 30-year-old from Chicago worked as an oral history researcher on African-American communities for the nonprofit The History Makers. And now, according to several reports, Rodriguez also marched in a Black Lives Matter protest in 2017 on the 3-year anniversary of the police shooting of Laquan McDonald. Reportedly, Rodriguez also spoke about systemic racism and economic inequality. I mean, come on. I mean, in an alleged manifesto posted online before the slayings, which has now been taken down, Rodriguez wrote in part, quote, "Public opinion has shifted against a genocidal apartheid state, and the American government has simply shrugged." President Trump responding to the murders on Truth Social today, writing, "These horrible D.C. killings, based obviously on anti-Semitism, must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. Condolences to the families of the victims. So sad that such things as this can happen. God bless you all." Attorney General Pam Bondi also condemning the hate crime.
You have to feel safe in this country, and this hate speech has got to stop. We have to come together as not only a community here, but as a nation and as the world.
But the world we live in is now filled with so much hatred, so much violent rhetoric that words are becoming bullets and leading, as we are seeing, to real bloodshed. Just look at some of the vile comments on social media, right? This is how some people responded on the live feed during the police press conference announcing the murders. Look what some people, suspect or hero, free the world from Israel, free Palestine. You know, I am so sick and tired of how the world has normalized all of this pro-Hamas protesting as people just exercising their right to free speech. This is Nazi hatred masquerading as activism. Even rapper Kanye West, known for his radical anti-Semitic statements, posting to social media today, "God forgive me for the pain I've caused. I love all people. I'm done with anti-Semitism." I mean, perhaps Kanye has seen the light, who knows? But what's it going to take for Democrats to see the light, to speak out against such blatant hatred? So far, most of the left has remained silent. Squad member Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, she was asked this morning by a reporter to comment on the double murders. And she said, and I quote, "I'm gonna go for now." She's a member of Congress, and she couldn't even muster up a fake reply of, "I'm sorry for those families." But then again, what do you expect from the woman who said this when describing the 9/11 terrorists?
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Some people did something. This woman and the rest of the squad, they have no place in this country, never mind in leadership roles. And speaking of people that don't belong in any kind of leadership role, let's take a look at what Kamala posted today. She wrote in part, "Anti-Semitism and violence have no place in our country. We all must come together and fight hatred. Oh, now she wants to stand with the Jewish people. Give me a break, Kamala. You're the same person who put up a link on that same Twitter, now X profile, asking for money to bail out violent BLM rioters who wreaked havoc across our nation. Even leftist website Axios reported that the BLM riots caused billions of dollars in damages. The so-called Summer of Love was filled with insurmountable hate. And rather than keep those BLM rioters, aka domestic terrorists, locked up for years, we gave them money. Our taxpayer dollars. New York City, for example, paid the rioters off in a $13 million settlement. And this was just one of many of the payoffs that happened around the country. Yeah, so that's how bad things were under Joe Biden were, folks. Never forget what Democrats enabled and incentivized.
For those who wish to, we will now kneel for our moment of silence.
She can't do that now with her hip, right? But remember that was Nancy Pelosi kneeling for BLM with that cheap African Amazon scarf around her neck. What an embarrassment, you know? Such an embarrassment what was going on. And I'll never forget this either. FBI agents kneeling in solidarity with BLM, which we now know it stands for buys large mansions, because that's what the founders did with the billions donated to them. BLM was such a scam. This whole leftist, this pro-Hamas, all of it, it's such a scam. So can anyone explain to me why the BLM Marxist lesbian founders, that they're not in prison yet? You know, meantime, Democrats, they villainize everyday folks. People, MAGA supporters, walking around with their 7-Eleven Slurpee cups on January 6th. Democrats wanted to put those people behind bars for decades, the nonviolent ones. They didn't care. Yet the left, they lied to our faces, and they still do, scam after scam, like Basement Biden was ever fit to be president, and the regime narrative, right, the media regime, that we're the violent ones. I honestly don't even want to ever imagine a United States had Trump not won.
The work of your generation will be to shape these interesting times, to define the values
That was just yesterday, the brainwashed kids at Columbia University shouting "Free Mahmoud, free Palestine" during the commencement speech, referring to Mahmoud Khalil, the guy now in ICE detention for organizing those violent pro-Hamas protests. Then the Columbia graduates burned their diplomas like petulant children throwing a tantrum. You know, I actually feel sorry for the parents of these kids. You send them off to what you thought was a very prestigious school. You pay hundreds of thousands of dollars only for them to be indoctrinated like this Elias Rodriguez was, with hate, and then they wind up working in a Starbucks. How many more vigils have to happen? How many more innocent lives have to be lost for people to finally wake up and see what is really happening?
We have all repeatedly, and leaders across our community have, and allies of ours have repeatedly expressed that eventually, these anti-Semitic attacks would leap out of the virtual world, leap out of the verbal world, and end up in acts of violence and terror.
I hope and pray that justice for Yaron and Sarah, that it's swift, that it's absolute, that it's unapologetic, and that their deaths will not be in vain. I mean, rather than plan their wedding and their future together, their families are now planning their funerals. And remember this, folks, never forget this. They always come for the Jews first.
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.